learning from my own experience, Shama, I didn't know, like as I shared in my previous episode, like I seem to have whatever the culture, the society told me that, decent job, great husband, kids, family, seems to live comfortable life. Why is it I'm still not happy with my life? Something's missing, and then later I realized that, and why I'm still not fully like, it's not like my relationship having any problem. It's very normal argument here and there, but I could still sense it's still not deep enough that I always want. Like I share in the previous questions, like what is it that I've been sacrificed so much already, but I still can't get the relationship that I want. And it turns out as I go through this self discovery, it turns out that I lost connection to myself. I lost all this motivation. It's not because I didn't do enough, because I was doing less of what I was supposed to do, and
Yeah.
connected to myself, connected to my soul. And when I changed that relationship with myself, I was more grateful of myself, grateful of the body, grateful of everything.
Mhm.
It changed the relationship with my husband that I always want. That, we're having this close, we talk about everything. And I always curious, like, why it didn't turn out the way like that? Because he can sense my negative energy, number one, before. And he would try to create this barrier not to have this uncomfortable conversation with me, because he tried to avoid the argument or something like that. And the
Right.
same with my kids, because I will go through to them like constantly fixing mode instead of connection mode. So so that's why I want to ask you a questions, like, why do people feel unhappy in relationship, and they don't know why, and how can we help them to improve that, to feel more their relationship more alive, instead of, you know something's missing, why I'm still unhappy, whether you're still dating people, single
Mhm.
people, they don't have a partner, yes, they don't happy, they're looking for a partner, but people in relationship, they still feel, even though they have a partner, there's still something missing, they're still not feeling happy, not satisfied with their relationship. I would love to hear your thought on this.
Yeah, most definitely. So, in my opinion, or from what I've learned through experience or through coaching a client, which I would love to share a story about. I was coaching a client not too long ago, and my client had expressed some disappointment or unhappiness about how she felt in her relationship. And during our first session, of course, she had a lot to unpack. So I gave in my set of listening ears, and I just listened to her whole story. So one session was just kind of like listening to her story and trying to understand what was going on, and how we could help her move forward, and guide her the right way so she could feel more happier. So as we got deeper and deeper into the conversation, and as she expressed a lot of things during the session, what I learned was that there was some kind of disconnection between her and her spouse. And the disconnection often comes from unmet emotional needs, suppressed feelings. Um, People start losing touch when their needs are not met, and so disconnection starts happening. And most of the time this disconnection is happening because people have lost their authentic selves while trying to keep their relationships, marriages, or whatever afloat. They're trying to keep their partner happy, they're trying to keep their marriage happy, their relationship, they're trying to work it out somehow. And while doing so, in the midst of doing that, they're losing their authentic selves. And so when we dug deeper into our coaching session, into conversations, by the third coaching session, my client actually had an aha moment. And she is like, she realized that what she was trying to do was trying to please her partner so much that she was losing herself in the midst of doing that. And she thought that by doing so, she was making her partner happy. But her partner was unhappy, and neither was she. They were both losing each other while trying to please each other or trying to save their marriage or relationship. So when she realized that she was losing her authentic self, that's when she had that aha moment. She was like, oh my God, I know why. Because I'm not myself anymore. I'm not who I used to be. I got so carried away into this relationship, into pleasing my partner, that I forgot my own existence. So when she actually realized her own existence, and when she started working on herself, that's when things started shifting in their relationship as well. So while she was working on pleasing her partner so much, she had lost herself. But when she started regaining, she connected herself, she reconnected to herself, and that's when things started going well for both of them. Because then that's when she could be at her best.
Mhm.
That was her real true self, which she had lost down the line trying to fix a relationship. But when she started working on her own self, when she rediscovered her self worth, and when she reconnected with her own self, that's when she was able to give her 101% more into that relationship. She was thriving more. She was blooming. She was just her real self. She was
Mm,
more genuine, more authentic, and she could give more, do more, and she was just, like so much more different than what she used to be. And
mhm.
that's mostly what I think. It's very, very important to be your true self in a relationship. Yes, we all love to like please our partners. We like to go above and beyond and do things, which is completely totally fine. But while doing so, we always have to remember to be our genuine selves. We
Mhm.
cannot lose ourselves in the midst of pleasing others, because sometimes when we do that, that's when, because we are then disconnecting already. When we disconnect from our own selves, when we disconnect from our souls, that's when our body starts disconnecting from everything else too. And then we start acting in weird ways that we don't know why we're acting this way, but it's only because we're losing our own selves. And it goes back to the same analogy that I can't like keep repeating 100 times, like how you always say, Nina, Alina, you always say that you have to make sure your cup is filled before you pour into someone else's cup. If
Mhm.
your cup is half empty, or if your cup is not filled, what are you pouring into someone else's cup? Absolutely nothing. You're empty, and that emptiness is going into someone else's life, and it's impacting them, it's impacting your relationship. So, bringing yourself back to your authentic self, bringing yourself back to you, and connecting back to your soul and yourself is healing, and that impacts your relationship and you and everybody around you in a very, very positive way.
That's beautiful. That's spot on. I couldn't agree more. I see it. I like to use like ourselves is like a power bank, right?
Yeah,
And every other relationship is like they are charging from that power bank. So your
right.
job, your only job to make sure your power bank is charged. So a
Exactly.
lot of us seems to pour in the energy mostly on work, mostly on family, friends, blah, blah, blah. And they forgot the cup, the most important cup, which is yourself. You
Hmm.
need to constantly recharge your power bank, charge your cup, so that way you have more to pour out because, and it's not selfish. Why I explain, when you look after yourself, it changes everything around you. When you
Exactly.
don't look after yourself, you will become burdened and hurting people around you. It goes together like that. So when you take care and you make yourself happy and grateful, everyone around you will receive that positive energy as well. It's a domino effect. And this is why your only job is to make yourself happy and make
Exactly.
yourself proud. Because when you do that, When people happy, when they proud, they thrive. They don't need anything out of others. They want to give back because they feel whole. They're coming from a place of whole. It's a different feeling when you give so much. You're coming from a place of exhaustion, draining, and people can feel that energy. Even kids, they can feel your energy. You can keep lying to yourself, but people can feel your energy. And this is why people don't feel comfortable talking to you. People don't like coming to you when they have problem, when they don't feel safe. It's because of this energy. So I can't recommend enough, like, you need to come back to yourself. That's the roots
Yeah,
of everything. And that's why I keep telling my kids, I'm grateful that you love me and you want to make me happy, but your only job is to take care of yourself. You owe me nothing. You owe me nothing. By you taking care of yourself, that's mean you take care of everyone around you as well. You creating this bright light energy and everyone can use, or you become the darkness. People next to you is you drowning people next to you. So coming back to yourself is very important. It's
good.
yeah, and this come back to, like, it makes you happy in the relationship or not, because for me in the past, because of your trauma, right? You're so scared of rejection. You keep giving because you fear of that rejection. You fear of that abandonment. They will leave you and stuff. So you're constantly giving, and like you said, you're losing yourself.
Yeah,
And it's like you give away whatever power you have left, hand it out to them and
yeah.
begging them, please give me something back, or give me a
Appreciate
crumb back. All
some
right.
validation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're
So
so
you give,
desperate for
it's not a smart math, isn't it? It's like you're giving away everything and you're waiting until for this person, when they feel good, they will give you some crumb, give something back to you. Think about it. If you're living a life like this, you're gonna be facing suffering. It's
that.
not. It's
Exactly.
not a
And
smart
you're
move.
right.
It's not. Yeah.
And maybe, Lena, maybe you and I would have done the same all life long if we hadn't gone to Jay Shetty certification school and became life coaches. Can you imagine how much our life has transformed? Like just being a life coach, how much wisdom and knowledge we have gained from this school. It's just amazing. Like, look at us, like we're talking about these things in such like a broader aspect. I would have never been able to sit here and talk to somebody in this way because I didn't have this much knowledge. I mean, maybe I had a little bit of knowledge, but this much wisdom is not possible for you to gain overnight. It's like it took us a long time to actually bring that awareness to work on ourselves and to actually realize and learn and know what we were doing, right? And now that we have acknowledged, we've got the awareness, and now that we've worked on ourselves, it's so nice and so amazing to be able to come out here and make the world aware of how things can be misinterpreted, how things can just like fall through the cracks, and little things that we can do, that by fixing ourselves we can fix so many things. It's like the inner work, the work that we do for us, is it plays such a huge role in our lives as well as people who are we're surrounded with. It's so important to bring this awareness to people out there. Like everybody needs to understand how important self-love is, how important self-worth is, because like we're going back to the jealousy thing that we were discussing earlier. Where do you think jealousy generates from? It generates from lack of self-worth, that I'm not enough, and
Mhm.
that generates from a past trauma. But the only way we can heal from this is by bringing the awareness and communicating with people very, very openly and honestly, and making them aware that this is their behavior, and also allowing them the space to heal from, to heal from self worth, because they're lacking that right now. And if we don't bring the awareness and if we don't communicate honestly and openly, they're never going to be able to know. Somebody did this to us, and that's how now we are aware. We learned this
Mhm.
through our coaching journeys. Remember when we were being coached by our fellow coaches? How many times did it like I came to realization, oh my God, how did it never come to my mind? How did I not think about these things? I wasn't aware of any of these things until we, joined the school. And now that we have this awareness, I feel like we need to bring this out to people, to the public, to the world, to like bring this knowledge and share this wisdom and all these things that we have learned that can help them in their relationships, in their daily lives, that can help them become better version of themselves. And
Mhm.
everybody deserves to live the life that they all deserve to live. And the only way we can do that is when we actually know our self-worth.
That's beautiful. That's spot on, I this is the reason why I have all these podcasts from like coaching. I would never have intention for coaching for career anyway. The beginning was just to help myself and help the
Yeah,
family. But the more I get into this and I see how powerful it is, and this is why I'm sharing all this message. It's like, you having this delicious food and
exactly.
you just want everyone to try it because it's just that's
It's so good.
beautiful. Yeah, that's exactly feeling, like because life is too short and sometimes if we don't have the knowledge, we can't differentiate between I'm acting out of trauma or that is the really my power, like we learn to live a life that keep giving away our power instead of keeping our power within ourselves. And, when you give away your power, you focus on the outcome and, when I receive that outcome, I'll be happy. This, I'll be happy. When I receive this, I'll be feel more worthy. When I get that, I'll be more happier. But to become the person I am today now, I enjoy every process of it because I look at myself from a different lens. I enjoy the version of myself that I am becoming every day. It's not the outcome, but the step, the decision that I choose that I thought I would never dare or brave enough to do. And that is the proud that I do. It's not because of the outcome. I don't have any outcome or what. It doesn't bother me with the outcome anyway, but it's just that the process that I'm doing every day is already make me proud. All the thing that used to be scare me, it doesn't bother me anymore. And walk life with this attitude. And that's what I want people to experience. It's just that life is too short. How much longer do we want to live life in fear? And I'm sure everyone can relate and resonate how to live life with fear, self-doubt, insecurity. I'm sure everyone relate to that. And to walk life with confidence, to trust yourself, trust the process, and look at everything in a gratitude, having this positive energy. It just I think that's worth it for me. I feel like I complete my mission just by coming to life, found the answer how to live this type of life, because I've
Yeah,
seen some people they go back on their deathbed and still hold on to their revenge, their hurt, their pain until their last day. They don't
yeah.
know how to let go of all this baggage instead of look at it as just a beautiful lesson, it's just preparing me to the new version of you. It's not come to drain you or drown you, but it just listen. Don't look at it as just something shameful or make you feel you're not good enough because every of
Mhm.
us are existent. We are all good enough. That's why we exist because we can make everything happen. And
Exactly.
this is why I tell my kids never ever let anyone tell you otherwise, regardless how close they are. Never let them make you feel you're not good enough because you are good enough and it's okay even though you make mistake. We're still learning every day. Mommy still make mistake. Mommy still don't know everything, but we can become the new version of ourselves every day. And it's like life is all about forever student, right? We never
We're
gonna
learning.
get perfect, but we will keep progressing every day, never stop learning, never stop growing.
We never want to be, as the saying goes, hurt people. And
Yeah.
healed people are peaceful. We never
Mm.
want to be the person who is hurt, who always wants to hurt others. We want
Mhm.
to be the version of the healed person who is at peace. They know their self-worth. They've worked on themselves and they know what they're worth. And they're not out there to get you. They're out there to help you grow and transform and become a better version of yourself, not to hurt you. And that's what the world lacks these days. I feel like everybody feels like there's so much anger, animosity, jealousy, hatred in the world that people don't have time for love. Everybody tries to talk down, belittle, condescend people, or make you feel smaller in some sense. That's not how true life should be lived. I feel like
Yeah.
everybody needs to have we need to bring this awareness out there to people that the more we speak about it, the more they're going to become knowledgeable that life is very, very short. Why
Mm.
would you spend your precious time going out there making people feel that way? Work on yourself, become a better version of yourself, and then you live a better life that you deserve.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can totally relate it to the problem that we are facing now because everything moving so fast, but we are not ready. Just like the kids, they're not ready for the device. It's become a weapon hurting them. Everything
Mm,
moving so fast, but we haven't trained and mentally prepare for equip enough to handle all this change. So whether the feeling of comparison, whether the feeling of anger, jealous, it's all root from fear. And that is because of, research saying that because of a mother, we fight for our right and we start going back to work. We abandon our kids. So the kids has had lost a big chunk of time where the mother should have been, nurturing, giving them all this love and support. The mother was at work. So the kid was having so less time and exploring life with fear. And that's why it's become part of their life in adulthood. And this is why we need to be more raising that awareness to help each other. I mean, for parent out there, if you have younger kids, spend more time, build that emotional connection with the kids. But if you are already an adult, then no one else is going to come and save you. You have to do this job yourself. You
yeah,
have to give whatever that you want to hear from your parents. You tell it to yourself. Whether you want the parent to say, I'm proud of you, I love you, it might be hard to ask your parent to say that to you or force them to say that to you. You have to say it and do it to yourself. And that's the only way of healing, No one, I've been living life, want my parents to save me, my husband to save me. And then I realized no one can come and save you and doing that job but yourself. So stop pushing the responsibility on others. We have to start how we treat ourselves, love ourselves, respect ourselves, all these things with kindness and compassion. And it
yeah,
doesn't mean that we are allowed to do bad things, but when we actually fully accept ourselves with kindness and compassion, we actually want to thrive and we want to take more challenge. Just like look at the feeling, when you treat yourself with kindness and compassion, you feel good about yourself than bashing yourself up. I'm so stupid. No one
right,
care about me because I'm so different. When you feel
right,
good enough, you want to go out of the house. You want to do harder stuff. When you don't feel good enough versus because you're judging yourself constantly, you would just want to stay in your shell. You don't want to go anywhere. And that's the difference. Just because we are telling you to treat yourself kindness and compassion, it doesn't mean we allowed you to condone your bad behavior, but just to have grace that we all human. Just be humanist. We still have flaw. We learn. That's how we learn. It's not there to destroy you, but you have to experience that so you can progress. So when you
right,
treat yourself with kindness and compassion, you actually feel good about yourself to have motivation to have the courage to face your problem. And this is why I love this saying, you know, you can't heal it if you don't feel it. A lot of us, because of from our childhood, we've been hurt and we would do anything at all costs
To her that.
to avoid that feeling again. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like whether this is why we sacrifice ourselves so much because we don't want to feel the hurt feeling as we experience from the past and become a clingy, become we scared of those abandoned, become scared of those attachment. But we forgot that when we get older, we can handle those feelings. When you were a child, you didn't have the skill to handle this feeling. So that feeling it's become traumatic for you. I look at it like a food color put in a cup, when you were small. The food color becomes so strong. That problem, that feeling, it can be so harmful and hurtful. But when you become an adult, the food is like a food color putting in a pool or in the ocean. You can handle it better. So you gotta allow yourself to feel it, to heal it. Look at your wound on your hand. You cannot heal it without touching it. That's the same thing. So a lot of us becoming so good at suppressing our emotion, avoiding our emotion, and totally forgot that we can't feel. This is why some kids they keep hurting themselves because they keep suppress themselves so long that they don't feel anymore. They don't feel shame because when you suppress your hurt feeling, you suppress all thought of feeling. And this is why if you interview kids that keep cutting their wrists and stuff like that because they want to start feeling again. And when they cut themselves, they feel a little bit hurt. They feel that they're still human. So, and this is why suppressing yourself is a long-term impact. It will explode one day. So you would want your kids to show who they really are at a young age so you can nurture them at the time. So when they become an adult, they can go out and make less mistake as much as possible. But us parents try to keep the kids in the bubble at a very young age. And then when they go out, they make the most mistake. And then they can't handle like this the boy that killed his father, when he experienced all those shame, he can't handle it because he forgot that being a human, it's very normal to make mistake. It's more normal to fail. He forgot the core of the humanness. So yeah, and it's just I feel that when you become more healed, you become more curious. You live your life with more open heart than closed heart. I feel that I live my life with more closed heart before because I'm so scared of that pain. And then when I live my life with open heart, I become more daring, more playful, more curious, like want to know because knowing that I can handle it, knowing that I will be fine to handle all those feelings. And yeah, and then you can't fix it if you don't face it. A lot of us try to we think that we run away from when there's a problem, let's not talk about it. Let's just say
All
talk
right. Yeah.
about death and stuff. Let's not talk about it. It's a scary thing. But when you talk about it, it's to remind you how to live your life better. It's reminding you how to take care of yourself, how to cherish the relationship in front of you. And this is why and remind me of the K-pop demon song. I'm not sure you heard it. Like we can't face it if we can't fix it if we never face it. Because my daughter loved the song so much, it played, and I was like, oh, actually, the lyric is quite meaningful. Yeah. So yeah, it's like
Gotta check it out.
yeah, it's like you can't fix it if you don't face it, you know? And that's come down to like I mentioned about uncomfortable conversation. Uncomfortable conversation, it bring growth, it bring closeness. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but it show that you are important to me enough for me to bring this up. So don't be afraid of uncomfortable discussion or uncomfortable conversation because that's where you stretch and grow the most. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I want to move on to another question, Sharma.
Yeah, absolutely. I am down, ready.
Yeah. I know we can go on for hours every time
Oh
we.
yes, this whole session can last like 3 hours or maybe a whole day. We have
I
so much
forgot.
to talk about. We have
Yeah.
so much. talk about. And I love every time I connect with you through podcast. I just feel I wish time just stops and it never
I
goes.
know, right?
Moment
Nah, it's beautiful to talk to someone that you can fully feel, you
connected with,
feel
yeah.
like safe, growing, and inspiring
Yeah.
at the same time. And it's so beautiful. And I forgot we were recording. We're so into the zone.
We got so carried away in our
Yeah.
conversation because this is so, it's like such an authentic conversation that we are having right now, deeper. We're going deeper and deeper, like how Mira says,
Yeah.
curiosa and curiosa.
Yeah. We need to, there's
So,
so many layers. It's the
yeah, we're
same, right?
going
When we have our coaching with the clients, they will come to you with this problem. But then as
yeah,
we keep peeling the layers of onion,
we're
there
feeling the
will be
layers.
the problem about my husband never put the shoes at the right place. This is good. It's deeper than that.
Exactly, it's way deeper than that.
Yeah, way deeper than
I
that.
have
And
it.
it's
Oh,
it's
that's
am it's amazing how we live in a default mode, unconscious, And this is why I really enjoy coaching because it's like a mirror to
it
tell
is.
you, yeah, to
It
tell
is.
you.
And you feel like you're disconnected. Like right now, I'm in a zone where I'm very disconnected from like a lot of people, a world. Like I feel like I have become so much wiser in a sense that a lot of things that I used to stress about, worry about, and now I'm sitting and thinking, why was I worried about all these things? Like very recently, just a quick story. I was telling my mom because I'm on a contracted job, and I was telling my mom, I said, my contract is coming to an end, and she said, but you're taking it so lightly. And she said, in the past, your reaction to the same question or situation was like coming from a point of anxiety. And like, you were like worried about it and you would always think, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So, but she said, this time I see a huge difference. And I was like, yes, because I've become so much more wiser now. Now, like how Jay says in one of his videos I watched, or he said that sometimes we look at the closed door for so long that we forget that there are three other doors open and ready to let us in, but we're not looking at those doors. We're so focused on that closed door. And I was like, this is my case right now. So she
Mm,
was like, what is this supposed to mean? Because she didn't understand what I was saying. So I was just
mm,
explaining to her. I said, I'm looking at this thing for so long that I forgot my own potential. I have
mm,
so much potential. I know my worth. Now I know my worth. So why that's why you don't see fear, you don't see anxiety, or you don't see worry on my face because I know if this door closes, I have several other doors open and ready for me to enter. It's me who's not allowing myself to enter the doors. The doors are calling me. They're like, why are you going through that closed door over and over again when I'm ready and have, allowing you to come and enter me, but you're not coming here. So I was like, this is me. I need to bring that to my head that I know my worth now. I know what I'm capable of. And if I know that if this door closes, mom, another's ready and open for me. So I'm not worried anymore. This is what I've learned through this coaching journey. And it only became possible when I became a life coach. I did not have
mm,
this wisdom before. And
mm,
this wisdom came through experience and through learning that, this is life doesn't stop when something stops. Life keeps going on. And sometimes, like Jay says, we looked at the closed doors for so long, we never paid attention. There were so many other opportunities waiting for you, but I never paid attention to it. So now
mm.
it's my time to focus on things that are actually, worth focusing on. So back to our story again, back to our
No,
question.
I'm glad you brought that up because I can deeply resonate with that as well. And I sometimes amazed how when we change our mindset, we can still look at exact same thing, but
Yeah,
totally see different thing now, If you were
exactly.
to look at my mindset before, I can look like you said, like about the same thing, and all I see was just problem. And then now when I look at that exact same thing, I see so many possible opportunity.
Mhm.
Like you go with the wave and just have fun. And, it's just like, I finally get to understand between a weak and a strong mindset, two people
Exactly.
can look at exact same thing,
In two
but
different
one can see
ways.
obstacles, one can see opportunities. And
Exactly.
and this is why the more the awareness you are, you see all these beautiful things that you missed, that you didn't see before. And I realized that all this time I was so clingy, attaching to, let's just like you walk a dog, right? Your attention would just focus on the dog, like an attachment to that dog. And then
Mhm.
when you let go of that dog, you get to see so many beautiful sky, the flower on the road. And
Yeah.
this is what happening, this is what happening when you let go of the attachment. Attachment is from trauma. It's not love. It's when you let go of that attachment, you will enjoy life much more because you get to see all this beautiful thing is always there. And
Exactly.
surprisingly, we didn't see it before
Yeah.
until we
There's
get to upgrade our mindset.
Exactly. There's endless possibilities out there. We just have to open up our minds, and we just have to bring that awareness, and we have to just realize that life doesn't end or stop anywhere. It keeps going. And
Mm,
when we stress and focus on one thing for so long, we're missing out on the beauty of other things that are out there waiting for us that
yeah,
we're not even paying attention to, because we're so
exactly.
focused on this one negative thing, or one particular thing rather.
Yeah. It's like you mentioned about the analogy of the door, like because you were so attached to try to open that door used to be open before, but it's like you lost that job. It's no longer serve. It's already closed door, but you will keep trying to open a closed door where there's 100 of other door next to you.
And then
You need,
allowing,
it's
ready
it
for me
it
to
just need you
enter,
to push. It is not even lock you that you need
ready
to
for
walk
me to
in.
enter. It's ready, wide open, and ready for me to enter. And I'm not
Yeah.
entering. I'm not
Because our
entering.
attention wasn't there. Our
Yeah,
attention wasn't elsewhere. We were so focused on that
exactly.
door. And this is why I tell people, let go of that identity, like don't attach yourself to your career, to your certain relationship, because all of this is
Exactly.
changing. And when you attach to it, you're gonna be struggle hard. Attach
Exactly.
yourself to your value, to your your worth, like your not all these material things, because all this
Exactly.
thing is gonna change, and then you're gonna be struggle hard later on. And yeah, so I feel that I let go of identity. It's just because I'm changing every day. I'm evolving every day. So I'm just be open and curious life. And I feel that it's it's not worth it for me to keep playing the same game just because I feel safe and comfortable, and then realize, oh my God, my time is up. I haven't even experienced this, experienced that yet. I'm not sure if in America have the escape room, but how I see life is like that escape room. They give you 2 hours, you have to go in as many room as possible, and each room have a clue to give you um to unlock to go to the next room. And
I
if you were too scared to try, you would just stand in one spot and you didn't go anywhere. And then when your time is up, you miss out all the playfulness of life. And that's when
exactly.
I learned about after my cancer, it was just like, oh my God, life is too short. I'm just going to go and play whatever I want to do. I'm just going to go and do it. And that
Mhm.
is the joy of the enjoyment of the process. Like I enjoy every process of it. I'm no longer focused on the outcome anymore. The fact that I follow my heart, do what I want, it's worth it. It's good enough. I'm already living that life. So in the future, if my time is up, I have done my fair share, like I enjoy my life. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. I think we need to move on to our topic.
Let's go back to our question.
How can people build trust in relationship? Because I feel trust and connections, it need to go together, and that's how you mentioned about listening, showing gratitude to each other's and checking in like each other's, like my husband, he used to get upset because when I was busy, he used to get upset to tell me to hang the clothes, like because sometimes I forgot, and he get upset because when you don't hang your clothes straight away, when you leave it to the next day, it can get smell, right? So
Yeah,
he told me, and this time when I busy with the podcast and stuff, I didn't do it straight away, so I forgot, and then instead of getting defensive and stuff like that and say, yeah, you are right, thanks for bringing it up, and this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm just always, okay, I'm gonna do it now. I put on my calendar, and after I done it, I take a photo, send it to him, just to build that trust back, because when I did it for the first time, he will constantly checking on me, like, have you done it and stuff, because I broke that trust, right? But
yeah,
I take it seriously. I put the alarm. I make sure I hang it, and after a few times, I take a photo, just showing how serious I take his feedback and want to improve. And that is repairing the relationship. That is building the trust again. And the same
yeah,
with my kids. Like we. Every time I'm busy, sometimes I just constantly tell him to do things. I forgot to connect and stuff like that. And then I would when I catch myself doing that, I just go apologize to him. I'm sorry that, you know, I keep going straight to the point, but I missed the point that you just want to connect with me. You want to share your feeling. And I forgot about that. Mommy will spare enough time to talk to you, play, like spend more time with you. How about we do 30 minutes every day to check on each other and stuff like that. So that's to build the trust again. And what I'm happy is that we all make mistake in our family. Don't think that I have a perfect family, but I can say the ratio between maybe I make one mistake out of the six. So I do more good things than making mistake. But every time we make mistake, even my kids, my son, everyone, even my husband now, we're taking turn to repair. Half an hour or 1 hour, we will come back and say sorry. Like we will repair the relationship straight away. We don't leave it
that's such
hanging
an
like in the past. We will pretend like nothing happened in the past after all these things, and we leave other people feeling all these things without have a good closure.
yeah,
So now even my daughter, I'm sorry, mommy, even though she say something and she know that I'm upset, but I don't say anything. And half an hour she figured that thing by herself. She's like, okay, maybe I should go a bit overboard, and she's testing, and she come and apologize. And I also, um, break praise her for this behavior. If I want her to keep repeating and doing, I praise her for that behavior. Thank you for taking accountability. You're just six, but you taking
yeah,
ownership initial to repair the relationship. And and that's how we do. It's just how we build trust in the family, knowing that regardless we're going through harsh situation, but we still value each other relation connection. We would say sorry. We would own up for our shares, and we prove ourselves to, I take this seriously. So I would love to hear, like, if you have any tips for our audience, or how can we build trust, because it's so easy to break trust, but how do we
yeah.
build trust?
It's a very sensitive word, actually, a
Mm,
very sensitive topic. Trust grows through consistency, transparency, and emotional safety. When a person feels safe with you emotionally, physically, mentally, that's when trust is built. It doesn't build overnight, it doesn't happen overnight. It's how you show up. It's a pattern of showing up with respect, accountability, and also with honesty, you know? And sometimes this may be uncomfortable. The situation may be uncomfortable, but you're still showing up. It's how you show up with respect, with accountability, and with honesty. I think that's how trust it grows through consistency. When the more consistent you are, the more you show up for each other, the more transparency there is in a relationship, and the more respect there is. That's where trust builds. When people lack those things, like when a relationship lacks consistency, When there's secrets there, they're not transparent with each other. That's when the disconnection starts happening. So the framework of trust, or the foundation of trust, is consistency, transparency, and respect, and at the same time emotional safety. The more you practice that, the more trust is going to be embedded into your relationship. When we fail to do those things, that's when things start falling apart.
Mm,
When people start having little secrets, when there's like, like when there's disconnection happening, and there people start losing touch, that feeling of disconnection starts happening. That's the that's the that's actually a sign that there's no trust in that relationship.
mm,
it,
mm.
it it all depends how you show up for each other. Like,
Yeah.
with accountability, like you shared the story about your husband and the shirt. That's accountability right there. You didn't defend yourself. You didn't play the blame game. You held yourself accountable. So the conversation didn't go in another direction, right? It was retained, and you did it with respect and accountability. So now your husband knows that Lena got the point and she's not going to do that again. So
Mm,
it's how you hold yourself accountable, how you respect your partner, and how honest you are in that. That's what builds trust, in my opinion. That's the foundation.
definitely. And a lot of people, they seems to think that when you in a relationship for a long time, the trust built by itself. No, it require a lot of effort from both parties.
It
Just
does.
because you spend have a long relation with each other, it's so easy to go south, right? It's just
Yeah.
because and you stop putting effort. You don't talk to each other like the first time you go on the first date together. You stop respect each other the same as when you were in the relationship. And
Mhm.
it turns out, like, your friends or other people know the secret of the family before your partner do. And this is the drive of a separation. Like, when you no longer working together, when you
Yeah.
no longer trust each other,
Exactly.
and you just keep playing that blame game. And relationship is, you know, get into a relationship is easy, but to maintain a healthy relationship,
It's a
both of
lot of.
you need to put in effort and need to focus on the mindset of teamwork.
Mhm.
No more blaming game. And
Yeah.
and I'm saying this, it's not just husband and wife, it's
Mhm.
a relationship with your kids, any type of relationship, especially at work. If your team doesn't trust you, it's hard
Mhm.
gonna drive the team results. So the
Exactly.
trust, knowing that the leader, as a leader, you'll be supporting your staff, you respect your staff, and make them feel appreciated and valued, they will do more
Yeah.
than we expected. So this is why building trust is very important. It's a core relationship that we need to focus on. And
Exactly.
yeah, so, and it's a slow growing process. And for me, to build trust is kindness and compassion, because we all human being, we all making mistake, and there's no sitting here playing the blaming game. But what can we do together? What can I do to help you? You may think that you do more in these tasks, but other tasks he will do more, because that's what is teamwork all about. You can't expect 50-50 all the time. Teamwork is not 50-50. Whichever you good at, you add the value on that, and then it works like you give more now, other and your partner will give more at other time, based on everyone's specialties and good at to balance your relationship. Yeah,
That's
so thank you for sharing. I really love your response on trust, and I think it's very important in relationship. Um, I just want to ask you if you have any like a scenario, whether with your client or with your friends, where you feel like trust was broken, and what they do to heal the relationship back.
I can share my own story actually.
Yeah.
Fully honest, in the past, like, when I was uh before I got married, I was in some relationships in the past where I felt like the relationship lacked trust. And one of the things that I don't actually like, it's my pet peeve rather, I don't like when people are not consistent. Like, you show up one day for somebody, but then you disappear for 3 days or 4 days. It seems more like you work based on how you feel that day. You're not showing up every day for the person you claim that you love, or the person you claim that you care, or the person you claim that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So it's consistency. Like I said, consistency to me is extremely important. Like, if somebody says that they are going to do and I actually, it's a pet peeve for me, and I actually follow that very, very strictly. When I say that I'm going to consistently do something for these many days, I'm going to make sure that I do it,
Mm,
because I want to be sure that when I'm making this promise, I'm consistently on it, and I'm following up, and I'm making sure it's done. And
mm,
so when somebody says that and doesn't do that, that's like a deal breaker for me. Like, that breaks my trust right there, because you
mm,
said something you were going to do, but you didn't.
mm,
And answers to those, the justification for not being able to do what you consistently said you would do was not like a valid justification. It's more like an excuse, or like a blame game. Going back
mm,
to the narcissist trap, by the way, that's a different conversation we're gonna have when we have a new podcast. But it was like a lot to juggle with, and it happened so many times that at first, in the beginning, when you're new in a relationship, everything feels normal. You're making excuses for your partner. Oh, maybe this happened, that's why this person didn't do that, or maybe that happened. And so we're so used to doing that, right? But at some point in life, you come to realization that now you're making excuses for somebody who's not consistent. So where is the trust here? There is no trust, right? And so that's when, I realized that something was off, and I had to kind of like disconnect from the person, because it was happening too many times, and my trust was broken to a point where I had to choose myself, because the person that had said that that person was going to do this and this never stood up to those things that they said they would do. It came from them directly. It wasn't an expectation from me. It wasn't something I had requested. It was something that they said they would do, which they were not consistent on. So
mm,
there was no consistency. Transparency wasn't there. There was no honesty either, because there were so many excuses one after another that led to like me believing that this person is a whole lie.
mm,
This person is not even a real genuine person, because a genuine person may fail one time. Like, if I have promised something that I'm going to do to my husband today and I fail to do it, I will be accountable, and I will say, honey, I failed to do this today, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to make up for it tomorrow. I'll wake up and I'll do this, and I will make sure that I do it, because I failed him one day, and the next day I have to make sure that I make up. That's when you build trust, because
mm.
then I promised him something, and if I don't do it the next day, we disconnect, because then you're like
Yeah.
shady,
Yeah.
because there's no consistency. So it all depends how you show up for one another. I think it's
Yeah.
very, very important for for people in a relationship to like be consistent. Transparency and trust and honesty, those are all three go hand in hand. I think that all three are very, very important to build trust in a relationship, because if one disconnects or one fails, the other two are not strong enough to hold back.
Mm,
So they all three go hand in hand. And
mm.
also at the same time, like, how you're showing up with accountability and with respect for one another.
That's exactly
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. So coming to the questions, how do you know when it's to end the relationship? Like, like you
Yeah.
mentioned in the past where people keep giving, especially linked to if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you know, it seems to be never good enough, regardless how much you give, how much you sacrifice. You still make it still make you feel that it's all your fault. You never done enough. So how do we know when to walk out the relationship? They're constantly making us feel small, shrinking, devolving, draining, no longer serve us. Like, how do people know? I think a lot of girls, especially, that doesn't seem to, because they're in the relationship for so long and they just don't know how to walk out, even though it's breaking their core value, breaking their pain, you know.
Yeah.
What are the signal and to pay attention to, and what can people, uh, how do they know it's the right time to walk out?
Yeah. So when peace becomes more of, when you feel more peaceful, like letting it go than choosing to stay, that's when I think it's an indication that it's not worth investing anymore. If you had put in your 101% effort and you have done everything to, to be happy or to get the relationship going, and you still feel like it's not going anywhere, and you don't feel at peace with it, then that's an indication that it's time to let go.
Mm,
Because you've put in your effort, you've done all the due diligence, everything that you could possibly do, all your effort and everything had been put into making that relationship work. But despite all of that, you're still not feeling peaceful. Is
yeah,
it worth staying in it then? And if you're letting go, that's not failure, that's self-love, because
mm,
then you're choosing to actually work on yourself. You're choosing yourself, because at the end of the day, you've done what you could do, and
mm,
all your effort that you put into the relationship still didn't fix it, and you
mm,
are not at peace. So what price are you paying to stay in that
mm,
relationship when it's costing you your peace?
yeah,
Then at this point, I would definitely choose self love, because
yeah,
then I would look at self love as not a failure, but as a strength. And
yeah,
and if a relationship is not allowing you growth, and if it's not allowing you that peace that you really want, then there's no point staying in it.
yeah, definitely. I think peace, nothing will be as important as your peace, regardless your career, whatever. If it's take away your peace, then walk away from it. Because, you know, in life, I just like this analogy where, the longer you stay on the wrong train, the more it will cost you. So in life, we cannot avoid going on the wrong train, but the sooner you realize you're on the wrong train, the less cost it will be. So the same, if you feel that it's becoming draining, knowing that the the fear of unknown is a lot lesser than the pain that you are going through now, the like all this that stealing your peace, then
Mhm.
you know if it's breaking you, it's time to walk out, it's time to let go. And this is could be a career, there could be a relationship, it could be anything that is take away your peace. And yeah, well, and sometimes when I say take away your peace, it's like you haven't tried anything yet and just like you walk away out from everything. I don't mean like that, I mean resilient. Like, you try the best that you possibly can to make it work, and it didn't work. Where if you were in a relationship, maybe go and see a coach or relationship therapy or something like that. You have tried already, it didn't work. With a career, you try to prove yourself, but do this and do that, it didn't work. I don't just mean, you expect something easy, peace coming your way without you putting any effort, and then you said you're putting away. I don't mean like that. So you deep down, you will know, if you be honest to yourself, that you've been living it long enough where it's breaking you apart. then it's time to let go.
Yep.
And yeah, so I want to ask you another question on forgiveness, because I feel that a lot of people seems to underestimate about the power of forgiveness, especially learn to forgive yourself, to give yourself a good closure instead of carry the shame.
Yep.
I want to know, what is your thought on can we forgive existing without reconciliation with others, or how do we let go, and even though that person never apologized to us, but why is forgiveness play an important part in our life and so benefit to our life?
So forgiveness isn't about them. It's about freeing you. So when you forgive somebody, you're not worried. It's not about them anymore. It's about you. Reconciliation requires two people, two willing people. But forgiveness only requires one willing soul. So if you're letting go, and if you're ready to forgive the other party, reconciliation is when two healed hearts reconcile and they agree to something. But forgiveness doesn't have to be that way. Forgiveness is your power, your will, your wish, your choice, and you can be the only willing soul to forgive somebody, and you can do it with 100% of your heart. And it's not about like holding on to what mattered. It's about letting go of what didn't matter to you anymore. You forgive them so you can free your own soul from everything that you've been through, all the damage, all the pain, all the grief, everything that you're holding on to. You're gonna let it go and free yourself from that. That does it
Mhm.
doesn't it doesn't mean that you're waiting for an apology from somebody that may not even apologize to you. But that doesn't mean that you're going to hold on grudges against that person because they didn't apologize to you for the bad things they did to you. You can always forgive them, and it doesn't cost you anything. And it doesn't make you, it's not a weakness. It's something that allows you to feel free from a bond, from something that you feel you're tied down to. You know, letting go and forgiving is such a powerful thing. When you forgive somebody, that's when you can let go. Because if you're not forgiving somebody for what they did to you, you're going to hold on to it and you're never going to let that go. And if you don't let go, you're never going to grow, you're never going to transform, you're never going to evolve into a better person. You're going to hold on to it until God knows when. So forgiveness is a very, very powerful thing, actually. And it doesn't have to be from both sides. If you're willing to forgive somebody, you can be the only willing soul to do so, and by doing so you're freeing your soul from all
Mhm.
this extra baggage, worries, tension, stress, everything that you were going to carry with you, which doesn't even matter.
That's beautiful. I love it. I like to see it, like, if you didn't forgive, it's like you constantly carrying all this baggage with you to the new relationship.
Exactly.
How drainful it is. Like, you don't have a hand to handle a new relationship properly because, oh, I can't handle this because my busy hand is carrying all these old
The very
relationship from the
past
past. I didn't let
relationship,
go.
exactly, the traumas
Yeah.
from past relationship.
Yeah, and this is probably, you wonder why the new relationship didn't work or the new job didn't work, because you still carry all these burden from the past that's no longer serve you. There's no benefit, but you're still carrying it because you've been carrying it for so long. You didn't know how to let go, and that is just to forgive. And when you forgive, you just like it's like a closure. You know, Imagine how free could it be if you don't carry anything on you and you go into a sport or a room, whatever you play, you feel more energetic. Your hand is free to catch whatever it is. How convenient, how easy it is compared to you go walk into let's say you play a basketball and you carry all this baggage with you. you can't even move properly. And that's what happened when you didn't forgive. So it's internal closure, emotional closure. And some
Exactly.
people, they can do it like in a writing a letter, but you didn't send it to that person. Just to, you can look at that person and talk to that person that you forgive them in, like with the photo, or you writing a letter to them and tell them, don't send a letter, but just write a letter of how you forgive, and that is a closure for you. And the same with, that's how with me as well. When any emotion that I catch myself, I haven't processed properly, I just go in and feel that emotion, and forgive, have compassion for yourself, just like to have a closure. So that way, when I go and start on a new task, I bring all this full energy with me, not half energy, because other half of my energy is wasting on carrying on the thing that no longer serve me. And this is why we call it invisible food break. You don't know why I can't achieve my clients or whatever, because you invisibly, you still carrying all this baggage and shame and stuff like that without having a good closure to it. So
Exactly.
beautiful, Sharma. I can't believe 2 hours
Yeah.
just gone by like that. I just have,
Another thing I want to add to it, Lena, is that forgiveness or letting go doesn't mean that it doesn't matter what people did to you. You're actually, by forgiving somebody, you are actually taking that control away from them. You are allowing yourself to take control of your emotions. You don't give anybody else the control over your emotions anymore because you already forgave them and you're letting go and now trying to move forward. So that's another beauty of forgiveness, because the more you hold on to it, the more you're gonna not be able to let go. And if and by not letting go, you're going to have that person have control over your emotions for a very, very long period of time, as for as long as they want or like, because you're not ready to let go or forgive. So once you forgive, you take that power back into your control. And that's the beauty of forgiveness.
definitely. It's all about keeping the power within you.
Exactly.
And that's why you have the power to make decision. This is what I'm choose. I'm not
Yes,
relying on you to
exactly.
guide my path. This is what I'm making my decision, and I'm gonna walk this path. How powerful it is then, waiting for someone to come and forgive you. You leave your power on someone else to decide which path are you gonna walk.
Mhm.
So yeah, forgiveness is you making decisions, and it's all about making powerful decision for yourself.
Exactly.
And yeah, so I just wanna ask you the final questions. I
Yeah.
asked all my guests this same question, but I think that today we're just gonna focus on relationship. So, I know you keep mentioning over again how our society, our kids nowadays, they grow up in an environment feeling
Mhm.
insecurity, comparing, and coming from inner lack, not feeling good enough, and that's why the numbers of mental health, depression, anxiety, and separations and stuff has gone up due to this issue. So for me, I just want to ask you if you can leave one piece of advice for our generation or our younger generations on relationship. What would that be and why?
One advice that I would like to bring, or like, for the younger generation, my one advice would be to focus on self love. I think everything begins from within. Like when we love ourselves and when we know our self worth, when we are compassionate to ourselves, then there is no room for anything else. When we, so I think it's very, very important to bring that awareness to like the younger generation going into relationships, that relationships is not all about bed of roses.
Mm,
It's a roller coaster ride. There's going to be there's lots of ups and downs. It's never what we think it is.
mm,
And and I was there when I was in my 20s, or like, a young adult. I always used to think, marriage is like a beautiful thing. But now that I'm married, I understand marriage is a very, very difficult job in itself.
okay.
to keep up with everything on a daily basis and to keep up with your own life. It's a lot of work. So the only way we can survive is like by focusing on ourselves, like working on ourselves, loving ourselves, showing compassion to ourselves, be kind to yourself. And when you are in a relationship, you always have to remember that it's very important to allow space, to allow individuals to grow as individuals and together as well. And again, like, love is not something we can control. Love is not a possession. It's something that we experience, or it's built with trust, honesty, transparency, consistency, accountability, respect, and care. So the more we work on ourselves, the more we bring the awareness of self love, the outcome of what we give out to the world outside, or the people around us, our spouses, our loved ones, our circle of friends, or everybody that we surround with, is going to be it's going to have a huge impact in a positive way. There's not going to be any room for insecurity, jealousy, or any sort of like misdemeanor, because we have worked on ourselves. And what we worked on is going to project in itself, like it's going to project you in a way that shows that you have done the work. And I think that's what we need to bring. We need to educate the young adults or the newer generation about self-awareness. Like they
Mm,
have to understand how to self-love, how to be compassionate to themselves, to understand your self-worth, and to know that you're whole, complete, and resourceful just the way you are.
mm,
You do not need any validation from anybody. Just like you said earlier, Lena, you told your kids not to listen to anybody. Otherwise, if they're telling them that they're not good enough, or they're this or they're that, they need to believe in themselves. And that's what we need to educate our children and the generation to come about, relationships. Like you need to work on yourself. Who you are is how you're going to present to another person. And if you have done the work in you, then you know what you're going to give out there to the world.
mm.
But if you are a damaged person, and if you have so many things to work on, then that's what the other person or the world will see you as, or
And
anybody surrounding you will see you as. And that's what we don't want,
spot on.
right?
Yeah. Definitely. I still say, like, one of the Buddha's quotes, still my favorite quote, if you truly love yourself, you could not hurt others. Like, you
Right.
and others is not separate. When you love yourself, you will love others as well. It's the relationship you have with yourself. It's reflects the relationship with others as well. And, so yeah, and I just love our conversation. Thank you so much for your time, Sharma.
Of course, my pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Have a great night.
You too. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to the Wisdom Inside Out. Stay tuned. Please follow me on this social media platform.